Welcome to another episode of Me and My Wife and Sports. I'm your host, Fitz, with my lovely co-host, Darcy.
Hi.
Well, for today's episode, we're going to be discussing Heisman Trophy candidate, whether or not this is a good Heisman class, and a little bit of history of the Heisman Trophy itself. So, with that said, let's get started. Actually, before we get started, I know I always have a but before we get started, I wanted to make a comment about the post LeBron James put out about a week or so ago, basically saying he was stepping away from social media for a while because of all the negativity that's been going on when it comes to sports. Any thoughts on that?
No, don't nobody care. Bye.
All righty then.
I mean, people step away from social media all the time. I don't know why he felt the need to announce it, but if you felt that need, then just get off of it. Nobody really cares, but okay.
Stephen A. made a comment that...
Stephen A. probably agreed with me.
He did. He was like, just
call me,
away.
Stephen.
You don't have to make an announcement. If you're away from it, people know you're away from it.
Exactly.
But in reality, you're still going to be looking at it.
If you have, it's like, okay, I'm announcing I'm leaving social media so that everybody can run to his social media and see that he's not there instead of just being gone. So you defeated the purpose. Just get off of it.
Right.
If you have to announce that you're getting off of it, it doesn't have the same impact. So nobody cares. Moving on.
All righty then. All righty. All right. The Heisman. I don't know as far as your research, but can you give our listeners a little background about the Heisman Trophy, how it came about, when it came about?
Well, the Heisman's been around for a lot longer than what I knew. The first Heisman was won in 1935 by J. Bergwanger of the University of Chicago. So I didn't realize that it had gone back that far. And It started way back then. I didn't even know the University of Chicago had a football team. Let's start there. But yes, so it's been around for a very long time. And I also didn't know it weighed 45 pounds. I know it looked kind of heavy, but yeah, it's 25 pounds with just the guy doing the pose, and then you put the wood base on it, and it's 45 pounds.
Wow.
So that's a little bit of trivia. And Ed Smith was the model for the Heisman, and he was of New York University.
Who is this?
Ed Smith was the model. John Heisman is who the trophy is named for, and he was a player way back when, and was also credited with developing the onside kick.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Did not know that.
And I read somewhere that he was credited with developing the onside kick, but then in a book that he wrote, he gives credit to someone else. So it's kind of a toss-up who really is the inventor of the onside kick, but it's between him and another person whose name leaves me right now. But yeah, it's a very interesting history behind the Heisman. If you get into if you're into trivia,
okay,
a lot of trivia out there on the Heisman.
And I think it was only 2 tight ends that ever won the Heisman.
Yes, 2 tight ends. So I have 39 running backs, and it's 39 running backs. They'll say 38, but it's really 39 because they only count Reggie Bush once, but Reggie Bush won twice, so that makes it 39.
So, hold on. Reggie Bush won the Heisman twice?
Yeah.
No. It's only one person ever won the Heisman twice.
Well, Reggie Bush won twice, and they took it away.
No, he won once and they took it away because of that incident with USC and Pete Carroll and all those folks.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me see what I was looking at that said he won it twice.
Ohio State running back Archie Griffin is the only player to win the Heisman Trophy twice, and he did it back-to-back seasons.
Is that right?
That's
I had Archie Griffin down, but I thought they said Reggie Bush too.
No. Now, you might be thinking when they took his trophy back, they took it back from him after that investigation with USC for them paying players.
So that was the first time he won it?
That's the only time he's won it.
Oh, okay.
And then they gave it back to him after, the likeness and all that stuff came out. They, I think, took a vote, but they gave
so
it
maybe
back
that's
to
what
him.
they were thinking of. Okay, so that's what they were saying.
Because I think he's
twice.
actually trying to sue the school because they initially took it in his name.
That's what they were saying. Okay, so yeah, maybe that's what they were saying. It was twice, giving it and then taking it away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, I got it. I see what you're saying.
Yes.
I misread that. So Reggie Bush, 39 running backs, 36 quarterbacks, 3 wide receivers, 3 fullbacks, 2 ends, and 1 corner, to answer your question.
Right.
What else?
Now, do you know who the current contenders are for the Heisman? Are you aware?
We got Travis Hunter,
Okay,
who currently is in the top runner, let's just say that, because we really don't know, because the whole process is very kind of subjective. But we'll say...
Well, before we even go into all the folks, let's enlighten our listeners a little bit. And probably majority of them do know, since they're following
all sports fans.
Right, I would assume. But for those who might not, let's break down how the voting process and how things are sort of divided across the U.S. to determine the Heisman winner.
Go ahead. It's very convoluted to me.
It is. And they're broken down into regions, basically, or I should say Heisman sectional representatives are in certain areas like the Far West, Southwest, Midwest, South, Mid-Atlantic, and Northeast. And they put they have a representative from each region who is usually a sports writer, sportscaster, analyst, or something like that, who determines or represents that particular region. And then, of course, the states that are divided in these regions, like, for example, the Far West, you have Arizona, California, Hawaii, Idaho, Montana, North Dakota, Nevada, Oregon, South Dakota, Utah, Washington, and Wyoming. And that's the Far West. And then the Mid-Atlantic is D.C., Delaware, Maryland, North Carolina, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Virginia, and West Virginia. Then, of course, you have the Midwest, which is Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Minnesota, Ohio, and Wisconsin. And as far as the Northeast, you have Connecticut, Massachusetts, Maine, New Hampshire, New York City, New York, Rhode Island, and Vermont. And for the South, you have Alabama, Florida, and you have Georgia, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Tennessee. And for the Southwest, you have Arizona, Colorado, Kansas, Missouri, New England, New Mexico, Oklahoma, and Texas. Not New England, I'm sorry, Nebraska. So that breaks down the 6 regions.
Okay, now what?
And each section...
Because you just gave us a rundown of the United States. Okay, so...
Well, I just broke it down into regions, though.
Okay.
That those folks, so you can have a idea. But you have 145 media votes, totaling about 870 media votes across the country. And then additionally, every former Heisman winner has a vote. And I want to say there's about 57, 58 Heisman winners who will actually have a vote. And then they allow a special program to allow the public at large to become part of the balloting process by permitting one fan vote eligible in the overall tabulation. So, you know that one link that you were voting for your Heisman winner or who you want to win out of all the candidates, they're going to take the tally from that, which is all the fans are voting, and it's We also put that link on our webpage. So if you want to go check it out and place your vote, but they'll take whichever Heisman candidate with the most votes from the fans, and they'll give that particular Heisman candidate a vote when it's being all tallied up with the sports writers and the other Heisman Trophy winners. So that's how the process goes. And bringing the total number of like 928 possible points voting for the Heisman. And Heisman ballots are distributed to the electors on December the 2nd. And the deadline for them to submit them back would be December the 9th. And the finalists are announced on December 9th. And on December the 14th, the Heisman Trophy winner via the televised Heisman ceremony on ESPN. And everyone will know who is the Heisman winner by December 14th. Now, let's go to the candidates and give me an idea on who you
So what's the lesson in all of that you just said?
Just to show how the process works, where the different, go ahead.
No, go ahead, finish.
How the regions are separated, which is 6 regions, and those states that are part of those regions. And the process, meaning the fans have one vote and the sports writers have their electoral votes. And then also the Heisman winners have their vote as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking that I would think that these football players and their fans and their families and anybody who has a vested interest in a player getting the Heisman would learn how the voting process works, because this voting process is very similar to our political voting process, and you should probably understand both.
I agree. I agree totally.
Because there is a lot that goes into this, and some votes weigh more heavily than other votes. So while the fans get the vote, it's not a 1-for-1 type vote.
It's only a one vote. After all the fans vote, they're going to give one vote to that particular person.
Yeah, that's what I mean when I say some votes weigh more heavily than other votes. Even the 58 members who were former winners, those votes only are weighted. And so they're going to collect those votes, and they're going to add those votes to the media votes, and they're going to collect the votes that were come in from the fans, and those votes will get tabulated, and they're going to be weighted, and they're going to go toward whatever players have been selected, and they're all going to get weighted. And this is how it's going to come out. It's not like a popular vote type of situation. Right. So it's worth spending some time reading up on to see who has the most weight in their vote, because that might be where you want to spend most of your time and your attention. But it's a interesting, convoluted process that would be worth parents, siblings, somebody in the family taking some time to learn something about.
All right. With that said, who would you cast your vote for?
I would cast my vote for Travis Hunter. I think he's just an all-around good player. What he's been doing on both sides of the ball hasn't been seen in a while. He seems to have a good football head on his shoulders when it comes to playing both sides of the ball. And nobody else is doing what he's doing. So despite what Colorado's record is, because they're not the best team out there, but his numbers are really good, and he has the potential to do a lot more. So I think that he has proven that he is what the Heisman Trophy embodies. So that's who I would cast my vote for.
And that wouldn't be a bad cast, because he is very impactful. And you got to understand, too, with the Heisman Trophy, it's my understanding that it's not so much the individuality does come into play, but also what does that person brings to the team as well from a team perspective. And he brings a lot because it was shown in the past when he was injured and not out there, it affected them greatly.
Yep.
So he's definitely an impact player for sure. Now, the one other player who's up for contention is the running back for Boise State, Ashton Genty.
Mm-hmm.
And he has done something that I think, which is college or professional. This kid has dropped over 2,000 yards rushing and over 40 touchdowns. And I think he might even come close to breaking close to 3,000 if he keeps on the pace he's going with the few games that are left, which is just crazy.
Yeah, I haven't seen him play. I need to pay attention to Boise State. Maybe that's why. But I didn't realize that he had those kind of numbers. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this weekend because this weekend is the last weekend before voting.
Right.
And so this will be a big weekend, the games this weekend.
Right. And if you look at some articles here and there, it's pretty much Hunter is being pushed in the forefront. But if you look at other ones, Ashton is also being pushed. And I think, I hate to say it because I'm a Hunter fan as well because he can play both sides at a high efficiency rate at that. But I think a lot of the voting is leaning toward the running back for Boise State.
I don't know because they talking about Cam Ward from Miami as well.
Yeah,
the quarterback.
Yeah,
he's number 3. So the top 4 people get to go or invited to the weekend, to the, what do they call it, Heisman weekend.
Right.
And then the top 10 show up for the
announcement.
For the announcement, yeah.
Right.
So we know Travis, Ashton, and Cam will be, or right now, those are the top 3. I guess this weekend will determine who that 4th person is. They don't know if it's going to be Dylan Gabriel or the quarterback from Georgia or Clemson. Those names have been kicked around in that 4th position. It's a lot of people vying for that 4th position, but they
anything on the Indiana's quarterback?
I haven't seen anything on that one. I mean, he's in like that 3rd group of people,
which they're not undefeated anymore.
He's in the top 10, but he's not in that really defined group of contenders. So,
right.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who that 4th person is because they always talk about how the sports announcers, who I find this funny because these sports people, they know how this game is played and they understand this Heisman thing and this voting and all this stuff a lot better than what they let on.
Mm-hmm.
And so they put these athletes in a chart and they put all their numbers in a chart. And this is really strictly a numbers game. It isn't about community service. It isn't about how wonderful a person you are. It isn't about anything. It's about he has 623 yards at 3rd place and the 4th place guy has 621 yards. So the 5th place guy has 621 yards. So the 5th place guy doesn't get the invite. Mm-hmm. And then the media will say, well, the 5th place guy got snubbed because he didn't get an invite. Well, that's just the media putting a spin on it. And that's really unfair to the public because if the public doesn't understand how the process works and how the Heisman committee and how these people came up with this, then it looks like a snub when it really wasn't a snub. If the gap between the number is too big between 4 and 5, then you don't get the invite. It's just plain and simple.
Right.
So it's little things like that that are really unfair to the kids, the school, and the fan base, because then the fans walk away feeling like, they got shorted. Oh, you don't like our player. And then everybody starts to write their own narrative because they haven't taken the time to understand the process.
Right. Well, hopefully because who did you say was the fifth person?
They haven't lined up the numbers yet because they got a game. December 1st is Saturday, and they probably all have games this weekend. And
because I know
the ballots don't go out till the 2nd.
Right. I know at the end of week 12, they had Genty, the running back for Boise State, as the number 1 contender, with Hunter as number 2, Ward as number 3. Ward is the quarterback for Miami, and Dylan Gabriel, quarterback for Oregon, and Will Howard, quarterback for Ohio State, as the 5th ballot getter.
But Hunter and Ashton have been going back and forth. And forth. So it just all depends on what you look at and when you look at it.
Right. This was based as of November 24th.
One thing I did find interesting is there are no representatives in contention for the Heisman from the SEC.
Really?
I don't know. Did you see any?
Yeah.
I mean, not in real contention.
Okay.
I mean, their names might be there, but they're
not real contenders.
They're not real contenders.
Which is kind of unique because they seem to always have somebody.
They always seem to have somebody, but I mean, they're not this year.
Well, too, there's talk that this is one of the weaker draft classes coming up.
And I hate that they say that, because
and they base a lot on the quarterback.
I don't accept that, because I don't want to take anything from the kids that are there.
Right.
Why say that? Why now is this a weaker draft class?
And I think
that's not fair.
And I agree. And they base a lot of that on the quarterback output, and which I find kind of unique that we rank that one as the litmus test for whether a class is great, good, or just okay.
Yeah.
Who's to say all the linemen aren't the best linemen to ever come out?
Right. Or so I don't think that's fair to the kids that are there. Their class is just as good as any other class, and they're just as good as anybody else that's been there, and and they shouldn't take anything away from them.
Right.
As this is their turn.
Right.
So.
Well, more to come, and we will see who's the winner. I'm with you. My money is on Travis Hunter. And if he's snubbed, then they really need to take a hard look at this whole process.
Right. Yeah.
And, granted, a lot of folks don't like Deion. When I say folks, meaning fans, coaches, sports writers, some just about the way he does business, but hopefully that won't affect giving this other young man a chance to win prestigious award that he's worked so hard for. All right. Before we go on, I want to thank one of our listeners, Morgan Shannon, who brought to our attention that when we did the episode of Father and Sons playing sports together, and I had made a comment that LeBron and his son were the first, but they were not. It was Ken Griffey Jr. and Ken Griffey Sr. They actually played almost 50 games together as a father and son duo. So thank you, Morgan, for pointing that out, and we'll be sending you a little something to show our appreciation for being a loyal listener. All right. We have another segment, because we're winding down here, that I like to call Surprising Sports Facts segment. This is something we want to try to start doing, just to sort of outline, some surprising sports fact that maybe some people might know, might not know, that took place. And we're going to start that here this week or this episode. But before we can get into that, we always got to have a sports segment theme song. And here we go. All right. Let's go to our little known sports fact. This is dealing with Michael Jordan. You know, everybody's known Michael Jordan to wear number 23 at every game, but there was one game he did not wear number 23 in his whole career. And the reason being is because his jersey was stolen. And I think they were playing Miami, if I'm not mistaken, at the time. But do you know what number he ended up wearing with no name?
I know you're not talking to me, are you?
Yes, I am.
No, I don't know who you're talking to.
Michael Jordan wore the number 12 for one game because his jersey was stolen, and he did not have a name on the back of his jersey. And long story short, come to find out, someone has stolen the jersey, threw it up in the ceiling tiles, and I guess after the game, tried to or wanted to get it, but didn't get it, and it was found when some maintenance was being done. But I just thought that was an interesting fact. So
that was interesting for you.
Well, for some listeners too, just because
I guess it's there, Michael Jordan fans out there.
Well, just sports fan in general. And that's a little known fact. So if you ever at a bar on Jeopardy, you can, and that question comes up, now you know the answer.
Okay.
All right.
Sure they thank you for that tidbit of information.
Well, Darcy.
Happy holidays, everybody. Be safe. Take care of each other. Be kind. And remember.
Remember what?
Your mate is a reflection of you.